Hi, I am Ashok Elshala, Assistant Professor of Chemistry, Kakatiya Government College, Hanamkonda, Warangal Urban District, Telangana State, India. Today's, today's our topic is stereoisomerism. And this is session 3. In session 1, we discussed about the geometrical isomerism. And in session 2, we discussed about optical isomerism. And in that, what are the need of optical isomerism and which type of compound shows optical isomerism, and various examples we discussed in stereoisomerism session 2. And this is going to be the session 3 stereoisomerism, that is in optical isomerism. And let us see what we will going to discuss in this. Now let us see, in the previous we discussed geometrical isomerism, and that is what are the stereoisomerism, geometrical isomerism, optical isomerism, and conformational. In the previous classes, geometrical isomerism we discussed. In optical isomerism, one session we discussed in that what are the conditions required for showing this optical isomerism, and with various examples we discussed. And today we will discuss in the optical isomerism session 2, then what it is going to be. One is going to be what are enantiomers and which compounds are called enantiomers and what are their properties, and what are the physical and chemical properties, how they differ from the different structures, etc. We discuss in this enantiomers. Then other one is going to be the what is called as diastereomers. What are diastereomers, and what is the structure of the diastereomers, which compounds called diastereomers, and how does they differ from enantiomers, then what are the differences between the stereo, that is enantiomers and diastereomers, that we are going to discuss in this session. Now let us see, the first one is going to be the what is called as the, actually what is, let us see again once again, actually what is mean by optical isomers. Stereoisomers that are not geometric isomers are known as optical isomers. Optical isomers differ in the placement of substituted groups around one or more atoms of the molecule. They were given their name because of their interaction with the plane polarized light. Optical isomers are labeled enantiomers or diastereomers. And in the previous session, we discussed what is plane polarized light. How does plane polarized light is influenced by the optically active compounds, that we discussed it in the session 1, that is in optical isomerism. Let us see what is this, the same one. Let us see what are the enantiomers. The first topic in this one is the what are the enantiomers. See, enantiomers are non-superimposable mirror images. A common example of a pair of enantiomer is your hands. Your hands are mirror images of one another, but no matter how you turn, twist, or rotate your hands, they are not superimposable like this. These are the two hands, and if you place one hand over the other hand, then the similar fingers does not coincide. And here, if you place like this also, the similar fingers are not coincide like this. And this is similar, this is going to be the mirror images of one of other, that is mirror images of one is the other. And you can see, you can observe this one in this way. You can observe here two models, that is going to be the two models that are mirror images and superimposable. Since they are superimposable, they are the same molecule, and not isomers. This is equivalent. These two models are what I meant to say superimposable. Why? Because see, when it is placed over the other, what happens? The blue colored one is superimposed, the white is superimposed, and white, and this red also. So therefore, these are not called isomers. Now let us see this one. Your hands and some molecules are mirror images but are not superimposable. These pairs of molecules are called enantiomers. You see, you can observe this one. How does it will be? See, this is one, your hand. This is going to be the left hand. This is going to be the right hand. If you see like this is the right hand. And you see this carbon is attached to the four different groups, and assume that one is placed over the other. And when one is placed over the other, they never superimposable. Such a compounds, these pairs of molecules are called as what you say enantiomers. That is, the isomers which are non-superimposable mirror images are said to be the enantiomers. Now let us see the other one is, this is another molecule. This another molecule, you see carbon alkyl group, that is the same similar molecule to this one. And if you see it's a 3D structure, assume that it's completely placed. This is completely, assume that this is completely placed over here. Then what happens, assume this total entire, when kept on this one, what happens, you can see the R is over the hydrogen, isn't it? And H, this H is comes to over the alkyl group. So that these are not superimposable. And such compounds, this type of compounds which are non-superimposable mirror images are called as, what I mean to say, the optical active compounds are called as enantiomers. Now let us see. This type of stereomers is the essential mirror image, non-superimposable type of stereo isomers. The note that the gray plane in the middle denotes the mirror plane between the two molecules. See, this is what is going to be. This is going to be the mirror. This is going to be the mirror. And this is one type of molecule, iodine, chlorine, fluorine, and hydrogen. This is another molecule. This is the mirror image of this one. Then assume that, then you assume that this entire structure, when placed over this one, then you can understood that what this iodine, of course, these are three-dimensional structure. This hydrogen will go into place over the chlorine, and this chlorine is placed over the hydrogen. That means they are not superimposable mirror images. This type of molecules, which are non-superimposable mirror images, are said to be the enantiomers. Now let us see other one is the, let us consider the mirror images of mirror image of an organic molecule. See this one. This is going to be the one more molecule. This you can see this carbon. If you see this carbon here, this is going to be the, what I meant to say, tetrahedrally arranged around this carbon, the four groups, methyl, ethyl, bromine, and hydrogen. This is a three-dimensional structure. And see its mirror image. You can observe the mirror image. And similar to that, I told you, this, when you assume that, then this molecule, when placed over this molecule, see here the directions, the hydrogen is this side, here hydrogen is this side, bromine is this side, and bromine is this side. Therefore these two are non-superimposable mirror images. And this type of molecules which are non-superimposable mirror images are said to be the enantiomers. The molecules of on the RHS also has a chiral center. This is right side, and this is going to be the right side. This is going to be the right side and has a chiral center attached to the same four groups that are present in the molecule on the LH side. The same four groups here also the same group. However, the two molecules differ in the spatial arrangement of these groups around the chiral center. That is, there is a difference in the spatial arrangement, and they are the mirror images of each other. This is going to be a mirror. This type of molecules, we call it as the enantiomers. Because of because of this different arrangement in space, the two molecules are not superimposable on each other. They are known as enantiomers or optical isomers. Each of these molecules is also said to be chiral. Now let us see. Chirality is a necessary and sufficient condition for existence of the enantiomers. These always exist as discrete pairs. The two isomers of lactic acid, if you observe, this is going to be the lactic acid. Now let us place a mirror. Then what happens? You see what may be its image. Can you assume this is going to be its mirror image? And these two, if you observe these two, what is this one? Here, this one is lactic acid molecule, other lactic acid molecule. Similar to this, I told you, assume that, can you assume that this entire molecule is placed over the other molecule. And so that the groups does not coincide, or what I mean say superimposable on each other. And this lactic acid is said to be these two isomers of lactic acids are said to be the enantiomers. Then what are the physical properties of the enantiomers? What are the physical properties? Let us see. Enantiomers have identical physical properties such as melting points, boiling points, solubilities, conductivities, etc., except towards plane polarized light. One turns right side, other turns left side. Each enantiomer rotates plane polarized light by the same angle, but in opposite direction. Do not do note that the direction on which a particular enantiomer rotates plane polarized light cannot be determined directly from the structure, but must be determined only experimentally. The enantiomers that rotates plane polarized light in clockwise direction is said to be dextrorotatory, and we use the identifier plus prefix to its name, or we can say D form. The enantiomer that rotates the plane polarized light in an anti-clockwise direction is said to be levorotatory, and we use the identifier minus prefix to its name, or in another way we can say it as L. This is D form. This is going to be the L means levorotatory, D means dextrorotatory. In this way, the two enantiomers are said to be, one is said to be a dextrorotatory or D form, another is said to be levorotatory or L form, or in another way, one is said to be the plus form, another is said to be the minus form. Then what is a racemic mixture? A racemic mixture, also known as a racemate, is one whereby there are equal amounts of both enantiomers and the equal and opposite rotation of the plane polarized light cancel out, resulting in optical inactivity. That means racemic mixture is nothing but 50% one enantiomer, that is would be dextrorotatory, 50% levorotatory. So that what happens, the rotation of the plane polarized light in equal angle, so that one rotates 50% right side, another rotates 50% left side, so that both get cancelled. And such a mixture is optically inactive, even though the molecules are chiral and they having the chiral centers, but the mixing of two enantiomers with equal quantity or equal percentage makes that molecule or that mixture makes optically inactive. Such a mixture is called as racemic mixture. In another way, you can say what is a racemic mixture? It is equal quantity or equal percentage of two enantiomers of a compound. 50% dextrorotatory and 50% levorotatory. And that mixture is called as racemic mixture. In contrast to the two enantiomers, which have identical physical properties except for the direction of rotation of the plane polarized light. A racemic mixture sometimes has different properties from either form of the pure enantiomer. Examples could be different in melting points, boiling points, and solubility. Sometimes the mixture, that is the racemic mixture, may shows different properties from its isomer, that is, it is even dextrorotatory and even it is levorotatory. It may shows, the racemic mixture may shows different properties from the enantiomers, like boiling point, melting point, and solubility. See, this is a 50% lactic acid, 50% or lactic acid, 50% S lactic acid. And that means here the rotation R and S nomenclature we will discuss in another session. But just you remember, this is one form. For example, if it is a derotation, this is going to be the dextrorotatory, this is going to be the when these two are mixed with equal percentage, 50% of this one, 50% of this one, and that mixture is called as racemic mixture. And the racemic mixture is nothing but this is one. And so that this rotates plane polarized light in the right direction, this rotates the plane polarized light in the left direction, so that how much angle it is rotated, the same, that is the same amount of the angle will be rotated by this one, so that one rotate like this and another rotate like this, they are opposite direction. Therefore that the rotation will be cancelled each by one by other. That's why they does not what I mean to say, does not rotate plane polarized light. And that's why this racemic mixture is said to be the optically inactive. Then what are the chemical properties of enantiomers? Enantiomers have the same chemical properties except in the way they interact with the other chiral molecules. This has a lot of biological relevance, particularly in drug action. The human body is essentially a chiral structure having many chiral drug targets, such as enzymes, receptors, and ion channels. The effect is that the enantiomers can have very distinct pharmacodynamic and pharmacokinetics properties that may be significant enough to translate into different biological effects. For example, the action of adrenaline. You can see the action of adrenaline differs depending on which enantiomer is being used. Minus adrenaline is a natural hormone with a stimulating effect. You know adrenaline, what is adrenaline hormone? It is fight and flight hormone. That means when a sudden incident occurs, suppose when you are walking on the way, suddenly a snake comes to in front of you, then the adrenaline works. It is a fight and flight hormone. That means either you have to kill the snake or you have to run from away. And that type of psychological influence will be created in our body. That is adrenaline. And it is a natural hormone with a stimulating effect, whereas plus adrenaline cannot fit into the enzyme active site and is mild toxic. That means you see, when the same compound, if the configuration is different, their properties are different, because in our body there are many enantiomers with a particular or with a definite enantiomer will be there in our body. And see this one. For example, the action of okay, this is if we use a drug in the form of a racemic mixture, we are actually serving a mixture of drugs. which could be dangerous. Suppose if it is used, the -1 is used, it is stimulating. If it is my plus is used, it is not enzyme active, therefore it is somewhat active. Suppose if we use the mixture of these two compounds and of racemic mixture, we are actually serving a mixture of drugs which could be dangerous. As such, racemic mixture can also be considered as compounds that contain 50% impurity. And that's why if it is an impurity and it is does not serve our what is our needs, this in we can discuss for these two examples where a racemic mixture could be dangerous when used in the drugs. Ibuprofen, and you know this is a pain reliever or painkiller. One of its enantiomer more potent than the other by about threefold. One will works normally, other will works threefold, one three times greater than the other enantiomer. And this you can observe how the enantiomer is changed. That means the configuration is changed. How its property is increased by threefold. Similarly, one very popular drug that is going to be the thalidomide. One of the enantiomer of thalidomide cures morning sickness, which is the intended therapeutic effect, while the other is a potent drug, tetrogen, and causes birth defects. This is birth defects. Based on actual historical events, thalidomide was unfortunately being sold as a racemic mixture. It is not a that is what I meant is that thalidomide is not 100% pure. Therefore, some impurity of the other enantiomer is present, and sometimes it is used as a racemic mixture. And as a result, a lot of severely deformed children were born in Europe. Europe deformed Europe. Then you can see this is what is this thalidomide structure. When an enantiomer works effectively, then another will does not. When we both can be used, what happened in Europe, it was sold heavily, and it was observed that when the pregnant ladies, when taken the mixture, that is racemic mixture of thalidomide, the children born with what I meant say these limbs here deformed limbs, and in this way the racemic mixture or the configuration of the enantiomer is very important in the therapeutic use. The biological impact of enantiomers also highlights the importance of enantiomeric purity in the medicinal industry, which has to be achieved either through synthesis of only one particular enantiomer or through the separation of the mixture. I think you observed that one condition while taking that is medicines, and we have some side effects, and we are taking for one disease, but the tablets has a some what I meant said as side effect. The side effect is due to the other enantiomer also present along with the required one. That means the medicines are not 100% pure. A little bit of impurity also causes many changes in our body, and that's why some the side effects because of this other form of the enantiomer also. The biological impact of enantiomers highlights the importance of enantiomer purity in medicinal industry, which has to be achieved through the purity of the synthesis. So, with this, what I meant to say, I think you understood what is enantiomers, what are the different types of enantiomers, what are the different types of compounds, and which are called as enantiomers, what are their chemical properties, the two isomers, how they differ in pharmacological or in any other way, and we discussed here. Then let us go to the other stereoisomer. Let us see in optical isomerism. Then other one is said to be the, after completing the enantiomer, let us discuss about the what is diastereomers. And mainly in optical isomerism, we are discussing today. One is enantiomers, another is a diastereomer. Let us see what is a diastereomer. The diastereomer, the diastereomer are stereoisomers that are not related as object and mirror image and are not enantiomers. Unlike enantiomers, which are mirror images of each other and non-superimposable. Diastereomers are not mirror images of each other and non-superimposable. They are non-mirror images and non-superimposable. Diastereomers can have different physical properties and reactivity means chemical properties. They have different melting points and boiling points, and then they are differ in their densities also. They have two or more stereo centers. Minimum they should have two stereo centers and more than two. That means diastereomers also like enantiomer, they are also stereoisomers, but these are not mirror images and not superimposable. And here, let us see stereoisomers, stereoisomers that are not mirror image of each other are called as diastereomers. Optical isomers of 3-bromo-2-butanol. Let us see this one. These are the enantiomer. This is the 3-bromo-2-butanol. 3-bromo-2-butanol. You see, this is one isomer of this compound, optical isomer, and when placed a mirror, then you will get another, what is said to be another isomer. And here these are the two mirror images. These are two are mirror images of each other and non-superimposable. That's why we call it as the enantiomer. Now let us take another, what I meant to say, another form of this optical isomerism. Here we are focused on here, this one. Then what is the difference between these two? In this case, the OH and H are the Br and OH are on the opposite side, whereas here the OH and Br are on the same side. This is the difference between these two. And here this another isomer of 3-bromo-2-butanol, it is going to be its mirror image. And here you can observe here, these are non-superimposable mirror images. Because they are mirror images, they are called as the enantiomer. Now there, what is the relation now? See, what is the relation between A and C? These are same, what I meant to say, around each carbon, they have the same groups around each carbon. But these are not mirror images. And in the same time, these two are not, what? Not superimposable. They are not mirror images and they are non-superimposable. And therefore, the relation between A and C is a diastereomer. Similarly, B and C also, the same configuration around the each carbon atom, but the spatial arrangement is different. And between the B and C also, these are not mirror images and these are non-superimposable. Therefore, we can say B and C are said to be the diastereomers. Similarly, you can compare A and you can compare B and C and B and D. That is, AB are enantiomers, CD are enantiomers, but AC are diastereomers, AD are diastereomers, B and C diastereomers, B and D are diastereomers. Let us see this one. These are said to be the diastereomers. Now, you can observe that what is the difference between the enantiomers and diastereomers. Enantiomers are the mirror images and non-superimposable. Diastereomers are not mirror images and not superimposable, are said to be the diastereomers. Now, what are the diastereomers versus enantiomers? Then let us see this one. Tartaric acid, whose formula is C4H6O6, is an organic compound that can be found in grape, bananas, and in wine. The structure of tartaric acid itself is really interesting. Naturally, it is in the form of RR. And we'll discuss what is RR and RS nomenclature for optical active compound in the other session. Why? Because it is now time taking. Therefore, we'll discuss separately in another session how to denote R and S. And just remember here, naturally, it is in the form of RR stereo center. Artificially, it can be the mesoform, R and S form, which is a chiral. RR tartaric acid is enantiomer to is mirror images which is SS tartaric acid, and diastereomers to mesotartaric acid. RR and SS tartaric acid have similar physical properties and reactivity. However, mesotartaric acid have different physical properties and reactivity. For example, melting point of RR configuration and SS tartaric acid about 170 degrees Celsius, and melting point of mesotartaric acid is 145. That means you can observe the mesoform, the melting point of the mesoform is different from its RR and SS configuration. See, this is going to be the this is going to be the what I meant is tartaric acid, and this is the tartaric acid formula. This is naturally occurring. What I meant to say this one, and its mirror image is this one. The mirror image of this one is going. This is going to be assume that this is a mirror, and this is going to be the mirror image. And here the configuration is completely inverse, and it is going to be this is going to be the 2R 3R, whereas here 2S 3S. And these are two mirror images, therefore we can say these two are enantiomers. Now here this is going to be the meso compound, means here it is going to be the twisted. That means one is turned. When it is turned like this, you will get a mesotartaric. That means this configuration is, see, when it is twisted, you will get a meso compound. And here the melting point of and this is around 175 degrees centigrade. This or this, but this meso compound is around 145 degrees centigrade. In this way, it is very interesting one. Then a common 4-carbon sugar is called D-erythrose. Let us see, it is a structure of D-erythrose, and here the second carbon it has OR configuration, and third carbon also OR configuration. This is a common sugar, it is a 4-carbon sugar. That is, this is going to 1, 2, 3, 4. Now let us see what are these two are said to be the mirror images of each other. Therefore, it is called D-erythrose. It is going to be the L-erythrose. When you place a mirror here, you will get its mirror images, and these two are said to be the, what I meant to say, enantiomer. Here it is RR configuration, and it is going to be the mirror images opposite, and it is going to be the SS configuration. Now let us see the other one. This is going to be the RR configuration, and its isomer, that is enantiomer mirror image. This is SS. And suppose if you twist, that is around the single bond, and that means the groups are changed. One is R, other is going to be the S, and therefore its mirror image is this. And these are said to be the what? Enantiomer. These are said to be the enantiomer, these are said to, but this and this is said to be the diastereomer. And this is said to be the diastereomer. And also similar, this and this also said to be the diastereomer, and this pair also said to be the diastereomer. In this way, the diastereomers and enantiomers, which type of compounds called enantiomers and which type of compounds are called diastereomers. That is, if the mirror images non-superimposable optical isomers are called enantiomers, the non-mirror images non-superimposable optical isomers are called as what you say, that is going to be the diastereomers. See, that is going to be the, what is the diastereomers, that is we are discussing. The definition of diastereomers is very simple. If two molecules stereoisomer, same molecular formula, same connectivity, and different arrangement or atoms in space, but are not enantiomers, then they are said to be the diastereomers by default. In practical terms, this means that at least one but not all of the chiral centers are opposite in a pair of diastereomers. By definition, two molecules that are diastereomers are not mirror images of each other. In general, a structure with n stereo centers will have 2 to the power of n stereoisomers. We are not considering for the time being the stereochemistry of double bonds. For example, let's consider the glucose molecule in its open chain form. Recall that many sugar molecules can exist in either open chain or cyclic form. There are two enantiomers of glucose called D-glucose and L-glucose. The D enantiomer is a common sugar that our body uses for energy. It has n equal to 4 stereo centers. That means it has 4 stereo centers. So therefore, there are 2 to the power of n means 2 to the power of 4, 16 possible stereomers, including D-glucose itself. See, this is going to be the structure. And it has 4 stereo centers. And because of the 4 stereo centers, you can say that 2 to the power of n means 2 to the power of 4 means 16 stereoisomers. And these two are said to be the enantiomers, and this two is said to be the diastereomers, and this two is said to be the diastereomers. And in this way, we can have 2 to the power of 4, 2 to the power of 4 stereoisomers are possible. That is, let us take one more example for this. In L-glucose, of all the stereoisomers are inverted relative to D-glucose, that leaves 14 diastereomers of D-glucose. These are molecules in which at least one, but not all, the stereocenters are inverted relative to D-glucose. One of these 14 diastereomers, a sugar called D-galactose, is shown above. In D-galactose, one of the 4 stereoselective center is inverted relative to D-glucose. Diastereomers which differ in only one stereocenter out of 2 or more are called epimers. That means diastereomers which differ only one stereocenter out of 2 or more are called epimers. D-glucose and D-galactose can therefore be referred to as epimers as well as diastereomers. Means you remember, epimers other way called as diastereomers. That is one more compound. I can say that erythronolide B, a precursor to the macrocyclic antibiotic erythromycin, has 10 stereocenters. Its enantiomer is that molecule in which all 10 stereocenters are inverted. In total, I told you already, the stereocenters, if n number, they show the 2 to the power of n. Here, the erythronolide B, that is going to have the 10 stereocenter. Therefore, it has 2 to the power of 10, 1024 stereoisomers in the erythronolide B family. 10, that is 1022 of these are diastereomers of the structure above. One is, that is, I will show you. One is the enantiomer of the structure, and the last is the structure. See its structure. Erythromycin precursor, this one. It has the, what I mean to say, it has the structure, and that is going to be the, its structure is going to be the, what I mean to say, it has 10 to the power of 10 stereo centers. Now let us see. We know that enantiomers have identical physical properties and equal but opposite degrees in specific rotation. Diastereomers, in theory at least, have different physical properties. We stipulate in theory because sometimes the physical properties of 2 or more diastereomers are so similar that it is very difficult to separate them. In addition, the specific rotations of diastereomers are unrelated. They could be the same sign or opposite sign, and similar in magnitude or very dissimilar. See, with this, I hope you understood. I hope we understood about these diastereomers and enantiomers and what are the differences between the enantiomers and diastereomers. What are the differences and how they differ in the physical and chemical properties? What are the reactivity and what are the pharmacological effect of the enantiomers and diastereomers? We discussed in detail. I hope you understood clearly. And let us complete this session. Let us complete this session with this discussion. And I hope you understood clearly. And I thank for watching this video. If it is useful, you share among the students and subscribe my channel. And in the next session, we are going to discuss about how these optical isomers are represented in different forms. That is, they are what I mean say, they are represented in different ways, like wedge dash formula, Fisher projection formula, Sahor's formula, Newman projection formula. That we will discuss in our next session. With this, I can conclude our discussion. With this, I can thank you one and all for watching. Share it and subscribe it among the student community. Thank you one and all. And